not this last week, but the week before, I was preparing some really adorable, cute things to share with you, which I will share with you today. And thinking about how I wanted to talk about Valentine's Day, which is what these things were for. And it was interesting because while I was doing it, I was sort of debating in my mind, like, do I really want to do a very Valentine-y video? Because there's a lot of people who don't like Valentine's Day or don't celebrate it or don't care about it. And I decided finally, well, yeah, for two reasons. One, because I absolutely love any opportunity I have to celebrate anything, almost. And maybe to an even ignorant extent, which I realize is a very privileged thing to say, but I feel like sometimes I celebrate things that I'm not 100% sure exactly what the origin of this holiday is, but it seems fun and it seems like, look, I think that it's important to buy yourself flowers and chocolates and go to the spa and take baths with rose petals and be loving and kind and sweet and romantic all year round. But if there's a holiday, even if it's super cheesy and hallmarky or consumer originated or driven or whatever, like I'm there for it. If there's an excuse to go all in and be extra about those things, then I'm there for that. So I think Valentine's is actually a really good example of what I was just talking about not fully comprehending the origin story. But I'll get there in a minute. No, I'll get there. The thing is, I also wanted to talk about that other part about how it's important to always be showing, expressing, and sharing love to other people and also yourself. And I've been thinking so much lately about, and I know I've shared this with you in the past, but what Chris Corsini said once about how there is opportunity to actively love yourself and care for yourself every day in almost all of the mundane tasks that we do. And some of them are actually meant to actively care for our own selves and love ourselves because we love ourselves, but we are so habituated to do these things in a really aggressive way or a very robotic way or just a mindless way that we just miss these opportunities all the time to actively love ourselves. And when he was describing it, he used a couple of examples that made me laugh and resonated with me very much because, for example, he used toothbrushing as an example of an opportunity that we have at least 3 times a day to actively care for ourselves and be kind and sweet and good with ourselves. And I immediately just saw the visual of myself with my electric toothbrush, like basically just dremeling my teeth, like just thoughtlessly and intensely just trying to get it over with and out of the way so I could go to bed or get the day started, get out the door to go to work or whatever. And also thought of, she'll kill me, but she probably won't watch this, so it's okay, my girlfriend. I am very much in admiration of the fact that my girlfriend has this excellent skincare routine where she actually remembers to moisturize her skin from like head to toe at least once a day. Like every time she showers, every time before she goes to bed at night, she's always moisturizing her skin. And I'm always forgetting to do that. And my skin is so dry, especially right now because I'm going through perimenopause. And also it's winter, so the heat is on and the air is dry. And she is so good for that. She does not ever seem to forget. She really cares about her skin. Technically, but to see this ritual play out is baffling, because even though she's actively loving herself and she's touching her own body, she's touching her own skin, but I can't do it because I have a microphone on and I don't want to smack it, but it's like really basically like the most aggressive, violent, self-destructive spectacle I have ever witnessed, as far as, like self-care routines go. So I was laughing, but also just realizing, oh my gosh, he's so right. There's so many opportunities. Everything we do in a day practically is something like the mundane, parts of our day can be done in a way where we're actually showing ourselves love and care and being gentle and tender and sweet with ourselves. And we're either just not present in the moment, or we're doing these things really robotically, like I said, or just on auto function. And we're missing out on all these really cool opportunities to really connect with ourselves and with other people, of course. But I wanted to talk about that because a lot of people also just don't celebrate Valentine's Day because they're single and they find it triggering or whatever. And so, like, no, this doesn't have to be about someone else buying you a material gift. It can just literally be about you actively loving yourself or loving someone else if you want to. What was I going to say? Oh yeah. So, rewind to not this past week, but the week before. I was involved in a small accident, that left me missing a pretty substantial piece of my face. Thanks to Cricket's new deep passion for parkour and me making the mistake of trying to relax on the couch, which was putting my forehead specifically between Cricket and where she wanted her body to be, which was the top of the back of the couch behind me. And she got me really, really good. And it was, it looked like a crime scene. And I realized that morning that I hadn't had a tetanus shot in about 15 years. So I decided to go and do that. And as the day progressed, I started to feel crappier and crappier. And I was like, oh, okay, just kind of responding normally to the vaccine, and that's fine. But I was at work and my clients were telling me, you look really bad. You don't look good. You look tired. But, as the day progressed, their commentary, their concerns, their words of concern became more and more insulting. Like, you look terrible. Are you okay? You really look terrible. Are you okay to drive? You didn't drive here, did you? And I was like, oh my gosh, it's just a vaccine. I'm fine. I was feeling feverish and kind of woozy and weird. And they were like, woozy? That's not normal. That's not normal even for a vaccine. And I was like, yes, it is. Anyways, fast forward to halfway through the next day when I realized this was not a reaction to the vaccine. I mean, it might have been, but it was also definitely, absolutely the flu. So that's gross and also really knocked me out. It hit me hard for the last week and a bit. So my plans to edit and publish that romantic Valentine, anti-Valentine, self-love video got totally derailed. And without even really making the connection, I thought, oh, okay, well, I guess I'll just scrap that video because Valentine's has come and gone. And I just realized that went exactly against everything I just said about how it doesn't have to be only on Valentine's Day, and these things are really beautiful and lovely to do all the time, and blah, blah, blah. And then I was like, okay, fine. I do need to share this. But actually, I also wanted to share with you, as far as me celebrating to the point of ignorance, but also in connection with some people being more cynical and anti-Valentine's, that I had an Italian class a few days after Valentine's Day. And because I was feeling so horrible, my teacher decided to just take it easy on me. We would just do reading a little bit of text and comprehension and no heavy conjugation or anything. And I said, okay, yeah, I'm up for it. So we didn't cancel the class. We did it, or it's online, so I wasn't getting her sick or anything. But she had me read some text about the origin of the whole St. Valentine's Day celebrating traditions and what have you. And she is probably one of the most beautiful, sweet, kind, generous, thoughtful, patient people I've ever met in my life. And she just would not let me find the beauty in this story, no matter how hard I tried. And it was really funny. So, like, for example, I mean, she just had comebacks for every comment I had, every romanticism, every whatever that I had, she had a comeback for. But it was just funny because I was like, oh, he fell in love in jail in his last days. And she was like, yeah, sure, I guess, if you don't question the fact that he was an old man and she was a 15-year-old child who happened to be blind. Like, so I was like, look, okay, yeah, no, did I know that? I don't know if I knew that part. And then she was teaching me about different traditions in different parts of Italy, because there's, different customs in different areas. And in one region, where Romeo and Juliet's balcony is, there's a custom of writing love letters and throwing them off of Juliet's balcony, if I understood correctly. I only don't remember because the part came after that, is that she showed, I said, oh, that's so beautiful, that's so romantic. And then she was like, yeah, sure, if you find this romantic. And then she showed me a photograph of the statue of Juliet standing there, just beautiful vision of loveliness, except for her one bare breast. It's a totally different color than the rest of the statue, and it's very, very shiny from having been rubbed by human beings for good luck. And try as I might to find like the beauty in that, and I tried, believe me. I was like, yeah, but she was not having it. So, and she's right. It's weird. I think. Is it weird? What do you guys think? Do you think it is beautiful to rub the breast of a statue for good luck? Or do you think it's creepy and weird? Because she can't. I know she's not real, but like, she can't move. She's just standing there and we're like, oh, good luck. Like, I don't know. Oh my gosh, I'm still sick. I'm sorry, but feel free to let me know in the comments what you think about that custom. And what else? Yeah, I don't remember where I was going with any of this. I will say, though, that in that pre-flu period, I made these beautiful little red velvet energy balls that are almost like truffles. They're so tasty. I found the recipe on the internet somewhere, and I tweaked it a little bit because it had some ingredients in it that I don't eat or don't like. And I wasn't sure if it'd still work out, but it definitely still worked out. So I am sharing that with you in this video. They're so good. I'm going to make I just bought more ingredients to make more. And I made a really super easy, beautiful rosewater face mist. And I made love poppets out of clay. I've never made a poppet before. And that was really fun and cute. I haven't used mine yet, and I haven't given away the ones that I made for other people yet. But I'm going to do that this week. So I'm very excited to use mine and to show you what I did. It was a little interesting journey. And if any of you have ever made them before, I want to hear all about it, please. So yeah, I'm going to tell you more about it in the process while I'm showing you how that went. I am very much feeling like my voice is going again. So I'm going to thank you in advance instead of waiting until later for taking the time to watch this video. And I thank you so much if you are a subscriber to the Substack or Patreon accounts that are linked with Sweet Vegan. And I will tell you, there is a spring edition of the Sweet Vegan Spills the Tea magazine coming out very, very soon. So if you want to get your free copy, go to sweetvegan.net and subscribe. And what else? I don't know, but if you'd like to work one-on-one with me for naturopathy, there is a booking link in the description below. And I work with patients live, in person, one-on-one, always live, but in person, one-on-one, here at the clinic, at the Solstice Clinic in Montreal. And I also see patients virtually if you can't come down to the clinic or you don't live in Montreal or Canada. I was going to add on to that, but I don't think I need to. I think I just need to tell you that I'll be back soon. And in the meantime, take really, really good care of yourselves and show yourself some love in a loving way. Calling this a recipe might be a bit of a stretch because there's literally just 2 ingredients and no instructions aside from putting them both in the same place. But I think it's worth it to share this with you because I love it so much. And using a face mist, I feel like it's more obvious to do that when it's hot outside, like during the summer, and you need like a fresh cooling mist. But like I said, I find in the winter, my skin is so dry and annoyed with the artificial heating and the extreme cold outside and the wind and stuff. So I actually tend to have much drier skin in the winter, like many, many people do. So I love using a face mist in the wintertime as well. And this one in particular is made of rose water, which is really nice for balancing pH and also is anti-inflammatory. So it's not only nice on your skin, actually it's really nice on your scalp also if you tend to get like a dry, itchy scalp, and it also makes your hair smell amazing. And then to this rose water, I'm adding a few drops of rose hip oil, which is really beautiful because it's packed with essential fatty acids and it has vitamin A, C, and E in it, as well as antioxidants, and it hydrates and boosts collagen production and reduces inflammation, like I said. It actually makes a really nice face toner also, especially if you add some witch hazel to it. And that really, really brightens the skin. It looks so beautiful. But most importantly, out of all of this, of course, is that it smells so beautiful. For the red velvet balls, I used 3/4 cup of almond flour and a cup of pitted dates that I soaked until they were really soft. And I added 2 tablespoons of cacao powder, a 1/4 cup of freeze-dried raspberries that I already crushed up into almost a powder, 3 tablespoons of maple syrup, a tablespoon of almond butter, 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract, a pinch of sea salt, and a 1/4 cup of dark chocolate chips. As I said, I found this recipe on Instagram and I can't remember where I saw it because I took a screenshot of the actual recipe but forgot to include the name of the person, and I apologize in advance. But I will say that their recipe called for a protein powder, which I really can't stand. I have never found a protein powder that I liked, so I just don't use that. I just added the extra almond flour. Anyways, I put all of those ingredients into a food processor, and then I whizzed that up until it was really, really well combined. And then I rolled the mixture into little balls. Mine looked kind of pastier, I guess, than the ones in the video that I watched. I'm not sure if that's because I didn't use the protein powder and I was using almond flour, or if my ingredients were just more moist than the ones in that recipe. I'm really not sure, but it didn't change the taste. They still tasted amazing. So once I had my tray of little balls, I actually put that in the freezer for a few minutes just to make sure they were really nice and cool while I melted a 1/4 cup of chocolate chips and about a teaspoon of coconut oil. And then I dipped the little balls into the melted chocolate mixture and I sprinkled dehydrated raspberries on top. These did not taste anything like energy balls to me. They were so decadent. They really tasted like almost like a truffle, not quite, but almost like they just really felt like a decadent little dessert. Like so good. And like I said, I'm going to make another batch of them today. They were just too good. I've never worked with Poppets before, and I didn't really know anything about them. The closest I think I've had to knowledge of these is kind of like in voodoo dolls or you know, things like cliche stuff that you see on TV and stuff, but I never actually knew very much about working with them in a positive kind of manifesting way. And Poppets, some people make them out of fabric, some people crochet them. And I decided that because I was giving some of them away, and some people like to dispose of them by either burning them or burying them or putting them in the water even, that I would make mine out of a natural clay that is not toxic and would easily disintegrate or biodegrade or whatever. So I tried to use natural products that were kind of biodegradable and non-toxic. So I made these self-love kind of healing poppets, and for my first attempt, I didn't actually know exactly what I wanted the poppets to look like. So I started out with an idea of like a curvy womanly body, and then she just started getting more and more kind of realistic in a way, and then I started obsessing about trying to make her look more realistic, and then it was getting too specific, and I found that she was getting kind of creepy looking, and then I was sending pictures of her to my daughters, and they assured me that she wasn't creepy, but she really was not giving the vibe that I was looking for at all. So then I went in the extreme opposite direction and started making them much more abstract and basic, so that they didn't really have much personality at all, or body parts for that matter. And it's cute and it works, but I think that next time I make them, I have something in mind now of what I want them to look like. And I think it's more like, I don't know if you've ever seen there's a Mexican liqueur called Damiana, and it's made from the herb, and the bottle is shaped like a very, very round, curvy woman body, kind of like a Buddha sitting upright. And I think that next time I try this, I'm going to try and make it more like that. So she'll be very round and curvy, but not have very specific features. And then her belly will be much more hollowed out, so I can fit more inside. Because in the Poppets, I made a little heart-shaped kind of belly, abdomen. And inside I put rose quartz for love and romance and healing and heart opening properties, which, you know, are the same properties as the rose, basically, hence the choice for the face mist that I shared with you. And I also put some rose petals and a little bit of lavender as well. And then I melted some red candle wax for passion, stamina, confidence, and courage, and also some pink candle wax for self-love, romance, friendship, and nurturing. And I still find them very cute. I think it's very fun, but I'm gonna try, like I said, my other idea. If that works out, I'll share that with you at some point. But yeah, anyways, if any of you make Poppets, I'd love to hear what you make them out of, what you use them for, and if you have any suggestions, or I would love to see some photos, actually. If anybody wants to send me photos, I would love that. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what she looks like, though, because the point is just to have something that you can use as a reminder, or even actively use in your practice when you are manifesting or doing spells or whatever you like to do, your rituals, to
nurture love and self-love, especially because that is really the theme of this video today.